Hello, fifth graders. Today we're on lesson 109. The objective for today is multiplying decimal numbers. Lesson 109 is found on page 717. The lesson starts off with a question: what is 1/10 of 1/10? Remember, when we hear that word of, we can usually switch it to multiplication. If we wanted to know what 1/10 of 1/10 would be, we understand that it would be 10 times 10 is 100. Okay, so 1/10 of 1/10 is 100th. Using a picture to draw that, I didn't delete these from yesterday. Okay, using a picture to draw that. How did I do that? Okay, I'm going to split, first I'll split this up into tenths. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 'kay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 equal parts to this square. Now, if I wanted to find what 1/10 of 1/10 would be, I would then split this tenth up into 10 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Starting to realize that my tenths are too small, but I think you'll get the idea. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and actually this is my 10th piece here. But understanding that 1/10 of 1/10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1/10 of 1/10 is 1/100th. Okay? Just like that. Using a picture to show the multiplication of 1/10 and 1/10. Okay? Moving on. It says we can also do that 1/10. Remember, if we multiplied 1/10 by 1/10, what you do with decimals, you multiply them just like anything else. 1 times 1 is 1. Now, you count the number of decimal places you have. I have 2 decimal places, so you start at the right side and go 2 decimal places over. Your decimal's there. This, of course, holds value, so you do have to place a 0 in there. 1/10 times 1/10 is 100th, just like 1/10 of 1/10 is 100th, just like as the fractions, 1/10 of 1/10 is 100th. So they all have some similarities there. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing this time. This time I'll use a whole number and a decimal number, 0 and 3/10. Okay, multiply 3 by 5, and you get 15. Multiply 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Now, I have no decimal places over here, so I don't have to worry about anything. 1 here. Okay, so you take your decimal, move it 1 place to the right, and your answer is 7 and 5/10. Okay, 25 times 1 times 0 and 3/10 is 7 and 5/10. Okay, moving on. Let's do, doesn't look like we have any examples, so let's just do some of the practice problems. First, they give us 0 and 3/10 times 4. Okay, multiply 4 times 3, you get 12. I guess you get 12, 4 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. How many decimal points do I have? I have 1. You move it over. Your answer is 1 and 2/10. Okay? Sorry, this is your answer for, write down for example 1. Okay, example 2. Example 2, I'm going to do practice problem. Let's do practice problem G. We have 1 and 5/10. 5/10 times 5/10. Okay? Now, if you wanted to put a 0 in here, you could, but it's kind of just in the way, so I'm going to keep it out. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 1 is 5. plus 2 is 7. Okay, now you count your decimal points. 1, 2, so you move your decimal point 1, 2 places over from the furthest digit to the right. And your answer is 75 hundredths. If you'd like to show 0 and 75 hundredths, that is acceptable. And again, that's your answer for example number 2. Example 3, we're going to compare 3/10 times 3/10 as a fraction with 3/10 times 3/10 as decimals. And I think most of us know the answer to this question. 3/10 as a fraction is the same as 3/10 as a decimal, just looks a little bit different. Okay? So it will be equals. But what is 3 times 3? 9. 10 times 10? 100. Let's compare that with 0 and 3/10 times 0 and 3/10. 3 times 3 is 9. We have 1, 2 decimal places, so our decimal moves 1, 2 places over. Okay, we have to fill in a 0 here. Our answer is 9 hundredths. Okay, 9 hundredths is equal to 0 and 9 hundredths, whether it's a decimal or a fraction. Again, that's your answer for example number 3. And write down this entire thing, please. Okay, example number 4. Example number 4, let's do, what is the area of this square? And they show that each side is 8/10 of a centimeter. We know that the formula for area is length times width. The length of the square is 8/10 of a centimeter. The width is 8/10 of a centimeter. I will multiply. 8 times 8 is 64. I have 2 decimal places, so I move my decimal 1, 2 places. Okay? Remembering that with area, we need to label it centimeters squared. We can also use the label square centimeters. Okay? Either answer is acceptable, and these are your answers for example number 4. That's all I have for you today. I'm actually doing this while you're at music, so hopefully you're having a great time there, and hopefully you don't walk in